On Overdrive today, we drive the Audi Q8 e-tron extensively and get behind the wheel of the updated Kia Seltos. Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I am Sonita. The Audi e-tron is now dubbed as the Q8 e-tron, comes with a larger, denser battery pack which leads to enhanced driving range. It also gets a few cosmetic upgrades in terms of its design as well as its features. Let's just find out how much of this difference really translates into a value proposition for this new EV.
Audi has a new e-tron in town. It's now called the Q8 e-tron, and here is what this car has to offer. Now the front end, what you can clearly see are some borrowed bits from the e-tron GT. Remember that sports car? So you see this entire blacked out frame? Well, that was never there before in the e-tron SUV, but it was certainly there in the e-tron sports car. Makes it definitely look a lot sportier. The grille has changed. It's got this plastic grille now, and it's got this glossy effect, a light grey glossy effect. But most important is the badge that has changed right here in the center of the car. Now this is a two-dimensional badge. It's not a 3D badge. It's not with those chrome elements on it. It now actually looks a little bit like a sticker has been applied onto a plastic body. But, well, Audi thinks this works. Well, I'm not too sure about it. There is an LED light beam that runs across the hood and illuminates this badge. In the Sportback, the badge itself gets illuminated, and there are some other light graphic elements on the headlamps to enhance the look and feel of the car, especially at night once the sun goes down. The Q8 e-tron that I'm driving today is essentially the e-tron, but back then Audi's electric SUV portfolio wasn't very large, and that's why the name e-tron stuck. But now, as that portfolio has grown globally and diversified, it was essential to bring in further nomenclature to distinguish one product from the other. And so the e-tron has now become the Q8 e-tron. But I've got some very fond memories of this SUV. I've driven it quite extensively. We took this SUV all the way up to Ladakh. It was a very challenging drive, but the e-tron was absolutely brilliant on that drive. With the Q8 e-tron, there's certainly a lot of areas that have been improved upon. So previously, you'd get about 450 kilometers or 470 kilometers of WLTP range. In actual everyday life, that would translate to about 350 to 370 kilometers of usable range. But now with the Q8 e-tron, what Audi has done is that they couldn't put in a larger battery pack, but what they could do is make the battery more efficient. And to do this, they've packed the cell stacks inside that battery pack even more densely. So effectively, you get much higher range. WLTP cycles for the Q8 e-tron are now about 560 or 570 kilometers for the Q8 e-tron SUV, and it goes up to nearly 600 kilometers for the Q8 e-tron Sportback. Why the higher range? There's one very simple reason for that. The aerodynamic efficiency in the Q8 e-tron SUV is higher than the aerodynamic efficiency of the Q8 e-tron Sportback. What I mean by that is that the Q8 e-tron Sportback is slipperier through air, essentially improving efficiency of that battery pack. Acceleration is brisk, it builds up momentum rapidly, but it also does this very gracefully. So it's not those mad instantaneous bursts of torque and speed that build up, but feels very much in control, very manageable, very easy to drive. Now if you hear that buzzer going off in the background, well, that's because I'm kind of winging it on this expansive highway. Though that's essentially not how you drive an electric vehicle. Because out on the highways, efficiency drops down considerably, and unless you've got plenty of opportunities to brake and get the regenerative system working, you're going to discharge the batteries very rapidly. With those denser batteries, from roughly around a 80 kilowatt hour battery in the e-tron, the Q8 e-tron now has a 114 kilowatt hour battery pack. So obviously, range has increased substantially. Charging times have also improved. The e-tron can be charged on a 22 kilowatt AC charger, and on DC, that can go up to about 180 kilowatts. With the 180 kilowatt DC charger, the Q8 e-tron can go from 0 to 80% charge in a little under 30 minutes. 100% will take you about 45 to 50 minutes. With a 22 kilowatt charger, the AC charger, this is about a 4.5 hour to around 5 hour charging time to get the most juice into that battery. Audi also provides every owner with 2 chargers, so you can place one at your home or at your place of work, or one at home and one at work, or just keep one at home, and in case you're traveling somewhere outside, a long distance road trip, then the second charger will come in handy for those long trips where you don't have a charging system handy along the way.
Is this new Q8 e-tron more fun to drive than its predecessor? Let's find out after this very short break. Welcome back. You're watching Overdrive. Of course, driving range is still a big criteria in case you're even considering adopting an EV lifestyle. But Audi has already addressed this by giving the Q8 e-tron a larger battery pack, and they have also enhanced the driving dynamics. It's now a very fun to drive proposition. Bert will tell you more.
Like most electrics, you get instantaneous torque. That makes this a very quick SUV. But then again, this is not something that you'd want for its performance. It's electric, it uses a lot of sustainable materials, and as an end product, it leaves a smaller carbon footprint behind. And that, in a sense, is what the Q8 e-tron's ambitions are. On the suspension side of things, there's been an effort, like I mentioned, to improve its dynamic abilities and, of course, its ride comfort as well. And so the Q8 e-tron on the road, on tarmac, it's a lot of fun. So you'd never ever really have to brake into a corner too hard. You're really pushing your luck too fast into a corner. Absolutely, you have to brake hard, cut down your speed and make that corner. But otherwise, if you aren't all that fast, well, the Q8 e-tron, it's very easy to straight line that apex and move on. Now, the Q8 e-tron continues to offer those multiple modes of recharging the batteries. So it's not just having to plug in to an AC or a DC charging system. When you're driving, you've got multiple regenerative modes or discharge systems that control the flow of energy, or rather reduce the flow of energy to a minimum. Saving charge in your battery is to put it into range mode. You simply go through the infotainment menus to get to the range mode window, click on the button, and this effectively negates, or rather switches off, certain ancillary functions that draw power from the main batteries until you're able to get to a charging station and recharge the batteries. On the safety front, the Q8 e-tron gets you a whole array of safety systems, both active and passive, multiple airbags, ESP, ESC, and along with that, there are a few advanced driver assistance systems as well. Now, the Q8 e-tron offers you multiple driving modes. You've got the off-road mode, you've got the all-road mode, you've got the efficiency mode, you've got a comfort mode, you've got a dynamic mode, you've got an individual settings mode as well. So it does not matter where you're driving the Q8 e-tron, you will always be easily able to access almost any terrain. Now, as you can see, there's plenty of room in this rear bench, adequate knee room, plenty of room under the seats, in fact, to place your feet, and, well, generous amounts of headroom as well. And you've got that panoramic sunroof, so that sense of space in the rear cabin of this Q8 e-tron SUV is immense. And of course, you've got an armrest with cup holders. So adequately appointed, comfortable, spacious and practical. But what is the sport back like? And as you can see, there's, well, less room, less head space for occupants. Nonetheless, it's a pretty well appointed rear space. You get all the features that you'd want, and don't forget, the Q8 e-tron Sportback, better efficiency, higher range in this SUV. So I've had a fantastic day driving both the Q8 e-tron SUV and of course the Q8 e-tron Sportback, though a little bit of driving with the Sportback. Nonetheless, both of them are very similar in character, just that the range differs in between the Sportback and of course the SUV. But overall, they're brilliant packages. They've certainly enhanced the customer experience, both through its ownership experience and of course the driving experience as well. I'm looking forward to a day when I can actually take the e-tron SUV, the Q8 e-tron SUV, on a longer trip somewhere, enjoy driving this a little bit more.
The Audi Q8 e-tron and the Q8 e-tron Sportback variant will launch on the 18th of August, and we will bring you all the price and various other details from the launch floor. So do check out the Overdrive social media platforms for all the details. We'll be back shortly to tell you more about the updated Kia Seltos. Stay with us, you're watching Overdrive.